Okay.
What's that?
All right. Welcome back to Ancapistani Lounge, here with returning friends Koi Monster and Crow Magnus.
Hey there. And I'm glad to be here.
Yay.
Yeah. Y'all ready to get back into the story?
Which story?
The fifth wave.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
been a
that.
while. Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. I need to get a drink.
Okay. All right. So I guess we'll wait a bit.
Sounds good.
Go ahead and rehash. Do the rehash first. It's Oh, hey, attack helicopter cat! Yay! Oh yes, rehash. It's a sci-fi dystopian novel takes place in the near future. There's no specific year or whatever, but there's this alien invasion, and these so-called aliens are really smart. Instead of attacking people like in the movies, they unleash some natural disasters, like coastal tsunamis. But before that, they did like a massive EMP, and then there was that blood plague that was spread around from some birds, and
Yikes.
yeah. And the fourth wave of the attack was aliens um, walking around in humans, killing off the surviving non-infesteds, and one of the main characters, Cassie, she got separated from her family. Well, her parents are already dead, but her little brother is still alive, and he's been taken to this secret military base, and it's the same place where the other main protagonist, Ben Parrish, also known as Codename Zombie, was also taken to the same base, and he nearly died from the blood plague. So he was rescued on the brink of death, and he was nursed back to health. He was brought to this specific room in which he was sat down in a chair, and he was hooked up to a system known as Wonderland, very advanced technology that in which looks into the memories of a person, and it's like the person literally sees the flashes of their life before their eyes, and it's a one intense ride, as it was described in part two. And in part four, fast forwarding to part four, Cassie recovered. She was shot in the thigh from one of the sleeper snipers type people, and she managed to escape for a little while, for a time after making a makeshift bandage, and it was really cold, and someone rescued her out from the cold, and he introduced himself as Evan Walker, and she's been staying at his old farmhouse, and which was some miles away from that military base Cassie's little brother and Ben Parrish are located. And Evan Walker, he doesn't like talking about his family much, and his girlfriend died from the blood plague. Actually, his girlfriend killed herself before the blood plague caught up with her. And Cassie is she's almost she's almost fully recovered, and she will soon resume to go find her little brother.
Mm.
Hello, Stasiuk the fox. Oh yeah, he's my one of my new subscribers. Hello,
Hmm.
welcome. Nice to see you. Yes, so Crow, it's been a while. So I think you really needed that summary since I think he definitely missed part 4. I don't remember you being around for part 4. Part That's part 4. Part 5 titled titled That's 6. Part 5. Yep. The Winnowing. Hold on a sec. Oh, Night Shift. He's coming. Yay.
Hmm.
All right. So, you got any questions, bro, before we start?
Nope. Let's get into the story.
Okay. Well, Koi will be late.
Hmm.
All right. We're on chapter 37. Cassie, through the smudged window, shrinking. Cassie, on the road, holding Bear, lifting his arm to help him wave goodbye. Goodbye, Sammy. Goodbye, Bear. The road, dust boiling up from the big black wheels of the bus, and Cassie shrinking into the brown swirl. Goodbye, Cassie. Cassie and Bear getting smaller and smaller, and the hardness of the glass beneath his fingers. Goodbye, Cassie. Goodbye, Bear. Until the dust swallows them, and he's alone on the crowded bus. No mommy, no daddy, no Cassie. And maybe he shouldn't have left Bear, because Bear had been with him since before he could remember anything. There had always been Bear, but there had always been Mommy, too. Mommy and Nan and Grandpa and the rest of his family. And the kids from Miss Naaman's class and Miss Naaman and the Majewskis and the nice checkout lady at Kroger who kept the strawberry suckers beneath her counter. They had always been there too, like Bear, since before he could remember, and now they weren't. Who had always been there wasn't anymore, and Cassie said they weren't coming back, not ever. The glass remembers it when he takes his hand away. It holds the memory of his hand, not like a picture, more like a fuzzy shadow. The way his mother's face is fuzzy when he tries to remember it, except Daddy's and Cassie's. All the faces he's known since he knew what faces were fading. Every face is new now, every face a stranger's face. A soldier walks down the aisle toward him. He's taken off his black mask. His face is round, his nose small and dotted with freckles. He doesn't look much older than Cassie. He's passing out bags of gummy fruit snacks and juice boxes. Dirty fingers claw for the treats. Some of the children haven't had a meal in days. For some, the soldiers are the first adults they've seen since their parents died. Some kids, the quietest ones, were found along the outskirts of town, wandering among the piles of blackened, half-burned bodies, and they stare at everything and everyone as if everything and everyone were something they'd never seen before. Others, like Sammy, were rescued from refugee camps or small bands of survivors in search of rescue, and their clothes aren't quite as ragged, and their faces not quite as thin, and their eyes not quite as vacant as the quiet ones. The ones wandering among the piles of the dead. The soldier reaches the back row. He's wearing a white band on his sleeve with a big red cross on it. Hey, want a snack? The soldier asks him. The juice box and chewy, gooey treats in the shape of dinosaurs. The juice is cold. Cold. He hasn't had a cold drink in forever. The soldier slides into the seat beside him and stretches his long legs into the aisle. Sammy pushes the thin plastic straw into the juice box and sips, while his eyes fall to the still form of a girl huddled in the seat across from them. Her shorts are torn, her pink top is stained with soot, her shoes caked with mud. She is smiling in her sleep, a good dream. Do you know her? The soldier asks Sammy. Sammy shakes his head. She had not been in the refugee camp with him. Why do you have that big red cross? I'm a medic. I help sick people. Why did you take off your mask? Don't need it now, the medic answers. He pops a handful of gummies into his mouth. Why not? The plague's back there. The soldier jerks his thumb toward the back window where the dust boiled up and Cassie shrunk to nothing, holding Bear. But Daddy said the plague is everywhere. The soldier shakes his head. Not where we're going, he says. Where are we going? Camp Haven. Against the grumbling engine and the whooshing wind through the open windows, it sounded like the soldier said Camp Heaven. Where? Sammy asks. You're going to love it. The soldier pats his leg. We've got it all fixed up for you. For me? For everyone. Cassie on the road, helping Bear wave goodbye. Then why didn't you bring everyone? We will. When? As soon as you guys are safe. The soldier glances at the girl again. He stands up, pulls off his green jacket, and gently lets it fall over her. You're the most important thing, the soldier says, and his boyish face set and serious. You're the future. The narrow, dusty road becomes a wider paved road, and then the buses turn onto an even wider road. Their engines rev up to a guttural roar, and they shoot toward the sun on a highway cleared of wrecks and stalled cars. They've been dragged or pushed onto the roadsides to clear the way for the busloads of children. The freckle-nosed medic comes down the aisle again, and this time he's handing out bottles of water and telling them to close the windows because some of the children are cold and some are scared by the rush of the wind that sounds like a monster roaring. The air in the bus quickly grows stale, and the temperature rises, making the children sleeping. But Sam gave Bear to Cassie to keep her company, and he's never slept without Bear, not ever. Not since Bear came to him. Anyway, he is tired, but he is also bearless. The more he tries to forget Bear, the more he remembers him, and the more he misses him, and the more he wishes he hadn't left him behind. The soldier offers him a bottle of water. He sees something is wrong, though Sammy smiles and pretends he doesn't feel so empty and bearless. The soldier sits beside him again, asks his name, and says his name is Parker. How much farther? Sammy asks. It will be dark soon, and the dark is the worst time. Nobody told him, but he knows that when they finally come, it will be in the dark, and it will be without warning, like the other waves, and there will be nothing you can do about it. It will just happen, like the TV winking out, and the cars dying, and the planes falling, like the pesky ants. Cassie and Daddy called it, and his mommy wrapped in bloody sheets. When the others first came, his father told him the world had changed, and nothing would be like before, and maybe they'd take him inside the mothership, maybe even take him on adventures in outer space. And Sammy couldn't wait to go inside the mothership and blast off into space, just like Luke Skywalker in his X-Wing starfighter. It made every night feel like Christmas Eve. When morning came, he thought he would wake up and all the wonderful presents the others had brought would be there. But the only thing the others brought was death. They hadn't come to give him anything. They had come to take everything away. When would they stop? Maybe never. Maybe the aliens wouldn't stop until they had taken everything away, until the whole world was like Sammy, empty, alone, and bearless. So he asks the soldier, "How much farther?" "Not far at all," the soldier called Parker answers. "You want me to stay here with you?" "I'm not afraid," Sammy says. "You have to be brave now," Cassie told him the day his mother died, when he saw the empty bed and knew without asking that she was gone with Nan Nan and all the others, the ones he knew and the ones he didn't know, the ones they piled up and burned at the edge of town. "You shouldn't be," the soldier says. "You're perfectly safe now." That's exactly what Daddy said on a night after the power died, after he boarded the windows and blocked off the doors, when the bad men with guns came out to steal things. "You're perfectly safe." After Mommy got sick and Daddy slipped the white paper mask over Cassie's and his faces. "Just to be sure, Sam, I think you're perfectly safe." "And you're gonna love Camp Haven," the soldier says. "Wait till you see it. We fixed it up just for kids like you." "And they can't find us there?" Parker smiles. "Well, I don't know about that, but it's probably the most secure place in North America right now. There's even an invisible force field in case the visitors try anything. Force fields aren't real. Well, people used to say the same thing about aliens. Have you seen one, Parker?" "Not yet," Parker answers. "Nobody has, at least not in my company. But we're looking forward to it." He smiles like a hard sultry smile, and Sammy's heart quickens. He wishes he were old enough to be a soldier like Parker. "Who knows?" Parker says. "Maybe they look just like us. Maybe you're looking at one right now." Different kind of smile now, teasing. The soldier stands up, and Sammy reaches for his hand. He doesn't want Parker to leave. Does Camp Heaven really have a force field?" "Yep, and manned watchtowers and 24/7 video surveillance and 20-foot fencing topped with razor wire and big, mean guard dogs that can smell a non-human 5 miles away." Sammy's nose crinkles. "That doesn't sound like heaven. That sounds like prison. Except prison keeps the bad guys in, and our camp keeps them out." Night. Oh yeah, this is chapter 38. Night. The stars above, bright and cold, and the dark road below, and the humming of the wheels on the dark road beneath the cold stars, the headlamps stabbing the thick dark, the swaying of the bus and the stale warm air. The girl across the aisle is sitting up now, dark hair matted to the side of her head, cheeks hollow and skin drawn tight across her skull, making her eyes seem owly huge. Sammy smiles hesitantly at her. She doesn't smile back. Her stare is fixed on the bottled water leaning against his leg. He holds out the bottle. "Want some?" A bony arm shoots across the space between them, and she pulls the bottle from his hand, gulps down the rest of the water in 4 swallows, and tosses the empty bottle onto the seat beside her. "I think they have more if you're still thirsty," Sammy says. The girl doesn't say anything. She stares at him, hardly blinking. "And they have gummies, too, if you're hungry." She just looks at him, not speaking, legs curled up beneath Parker's green jacket, round eyes unblinking. "My name's Sam, but everyone else calls me Sammy, except Cassie. Cassie calls me Sams. What's your name?" The girl raises her voice over the hum of the wheels and the growl of the engine. "Megan." Her thin fingers pluck at the green material of the army jacket. "Where did this come from?" she wonders aloud, her voice barely conquering the humming and growling in the background. Sammy gets up and slides into the empty space beside her. She flinches, drawing her legs back as far as she can. "From Parker," Sammy tells her. "That's him sitting up there by the driver. He's a medic. That means he takes care of sick people. He's really nice." The thin girl named Megan shakes her head. "I'm not sick." Eyes cupped in dark circles, lips cracked and peeling, hair matted and entangled with twigs and dead leaves. Her forehead is shiny, her cheeks are flushed. "Where are we going?" she wants to know. Camp Heaven. Camp what? It's a fort, Sammy says. And not just any fort. The biggest, best, safest fort in the whole world. It even has a force field. It's very warm and stuffy on the bus, but Megan can't stop shivering. Sammy tucks Parker's jacket under her chin. She stares at his face with huge, owly eyes. Who's Cassie? My sister. She's coming too. The soldiers are going back for her and Daddy and all the others. You mean she's alive? Sammy nods, puzzled. Why wouldn't Cassie be alive? Your father and your sister are alive. Her bottom lip quivers. A tear cuts a trail through the soot of her face, the soot from the smoke, from the fires, from the bodies burning. Without thinking, Sammy takes her hand, like when Cassie took his the night she told him that what the others had done. That was their first night in the refugee camp. The hugeness of what had happened over the past few months hadn't hit him until that night, after the lamps were turned off and he lay curled next to Cassie in the dark. Everything had happened so fast, from the day the power died to the day his father wrapped Mommy in the white sheet, to their arrival at the camp. He always thought they'd go home one day and everything would be like it was before they came. Mommy wouldn't come back. He wasn't a baby. He knew Mommy wasn't coming back, but he didn't understand that there was no going back, that what had happened was forever. Until that night. The night Cassie held his hand and told him Mommy was just one of the billions, that almost everybody on Earth was dead, that they would never live in their house again, that he would never go to school again, that all his friends were dead. It isn't right, Megan whispers now in the dark of the bus. It isn't right. She's staring at Sammy's face. My whole family's gone, and your father and your sister? It isn't right. Parker has gotten up again. He's stopping at each seat, speaking softly to each child, and then he's touching their foreheads. When he touches them, a light glows in the gloom. Sometimes the light is green, sometimes it's red. After the light fades away, Parker stamps the child's hand. Red light, red stamp. Green light, green stamp. My little brother was around your age, Megan says to Sammy. Sounds like an accusation. How come you're alive and he isn't? What's his name? Sammy asks. What's that matter? Why do you want to know his name? He wishes Cassie were here. Cassie would know what to say to make Megan feel better. She always knew the right thing to say. His name was Michael, okay? Michael Joseph. And he was 6 years old, and he never did anything to anybody. Is that okay? Are you happy now? Michael Joseph was my brother's name. You want to know everybody else's? She is looking over Sammy's shoulder at Parker, who has stopped at their row. Well, hello, sleepyhead, the medic says to Megan. She's sick, Parker, Sammy tells him. You need to make her better. We're going to make everybody better, Parker says with a smile. I'm not sick, Megan says, then shivers violently beneath Parker's green jacket. Heck no, Parker says with a nod and a big grin. But maybe I should check your temperature just to make sure, okay? He holds up a quarter-sized silver disc. Anything over 100 degrees glows green. He leans over Sammy and presses the disc against Megan's forehead. It lights up green. Uh-oh, Parker says. Let me check you, Sam. The metal is warm against his forehead. Parker's face is bathed for a second in red light. Parker rolls a stamp over the back of Megan's hand. The green ink shines wetly in the dimness. It's a smiley face. Then a red smiley face for Sammy. Wait for them to call your color, okay? Parker says to Megan. Greens are going straight to the hospital. I'm not sick, Megan shouts hoarsely. Her voice cracks. She doubles over, coughing, and Sammy instinctively recoils. Parker pats him on the shoulder. It's just a bad cold, Sam, he whispers. She's gonna be okay. I'm not going to the hospital, Megan tells Sammy after Parker returns to the front of the bus. She furiously rubs the back of her hand against the jacket, smearing the ink. The smiley face is now just a green blob. You have to, Sammy says. Don't you want to get better? She shakes her head sharply. He doesn't get it. Hospitals aren't where you go to get better. Hospitals are where you go to die. After his mother got sick, he asked Daddy, "Aren't you going to take Mommy to the hospital?" And his father said that it wasn't safe. Too many sick people, not enough doctors, and not anything the doctors could do for her anyway. Cassie told him the hospital was broken, just like the TV and the lights and the cars and everything else. Everything's broken? He asked Cassie. Everything? No, not everything, Sam's, she answered. Not this. She took his hand and put it against his chest. His pounding heart pushed fiercely against his open palm. Unbroken, she said. And let's see who's here. We got Mag and Zachary. Hello.
Hi. Sorry, I was just muted so you could read.
Hey.
Yeah, likewise. Hey there, Mag.
Hey, reading a book tonight.
Well, that's
Nice.
always
Hello.
Yeah.
Hey there, Zach.
enough people in the world don't read, and I love an audiobook.
Well, this audio book as I'm reading it's called The Fifth Wave. It's a
Nice.
sci-fi dystopian novel. There's also a
Sounded
movie.
like it.
Yeah, there's also a movie titled the same thing. Yeah, and
I'm just
started
gonna
to
say
talk.
about what it said about hospitals was too real. That was too real.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
too many
Oh,
sick
boy.
people,
quite a
not enough
grim chapter,
doctors.
isn't it?
Can you guys hear me? I can't really tell.
Yeah.
I can
Okay.
hear you just
Yeah, we can hear you.
fine.
Good, my mic's working then. Yay.
And checking
Oh, by the way,
yeah.
What?
is everyone insane?
Yes. Yes. I just came out
Yeah,
of watching a
can't
meme
say my
stream
answer
and my
about
brain is dead.
Okay, we got my lovely mod, YouTubing Jaguar here in the chat. Hello. Nice to see you again.
Oh, God, I'm so tired.
All right. Well, to summarize real quick on what's going on in this part, the little boy, Sammy, he's been separated from his sister, Cassie, and his father, which he doesn't know who's dead. He thinks he's still alive. The father was shot and killed by an alien-infested soldier.
Lovely. As my father would say, why can't you just read something nice? Because that's not the way the world works, and that's not what sells. People don't want to read a happy story. They want to read a grim, depressing story that turns out happy.
Well, sometimes some people want that, and
Yeah.
sometimes some people just like the happy, fluffy stuff. You never know. Okay, chapter 39.
How many chapters are there?
Throughout the whole book, a lot.
How many have you read on the stream?
So far, on this stream, I've read 2.
Nice.
Yeah, I've started.
Are you gonna make this a regular thing?
Gonna read parts 5 and 6, and then come back to it a while later.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, that's how it's been.
I got nothing else to do, so I'm here.
Okay.
I mean, I should be doing other things, but in reality, will I? No. That's my life.
All right. Ready for chapter 39?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna draw while you do that, so carry on.
Alrighty. Okay. His mother will only come to him in the in-between space, the gray time between waking and sleeping. She stays away from his dreams, as if she knows not to go there, because dreams are not real, but feel more real when you're dreaming them. She loves him too much to do that. Sometimes he can see her face, though most of the time he can't, just her shape. a little darker than the gray behind his lids. And he can smell her and touch her hair, feel it trail through his fingers. If he tries too hard to see her face, she fades into the dark. And if he tries to hold her too tightly, she slips away like her hair between his fingers. The hum of the wheels on the dark road, the stale, warm air, and the swaying of the bus beneath the cold stars. How much farther to Camp Heaven? It seems like they've been on the dark road beneath the cold stars forever. He waits for his mother in the in-between space, his eyes closed, while Megan watches him with those big, round, owly eyes. He falls asleep waiting. He is still asleep when the 3 school buses pull up to the gates of Camp Haven. High above in the watchtower, the sentry pushes a button. The electric lock releases, and the gate slides open. The buses pull in, and the gate slides shut behind them. He doesn't wake up until the buses roll to a stop with a final angry hiss of their brakes. The 2 soldiers are moving down the aisle, waking the children who have fallen asleep. The soldiers are heavily armed, but they smile and their voices are gentle. It's okay. Time to get up. You're perfectly safe now. Sammy sits up, squinting in the sudden blaze of light flooding through the windows, and looks outside. They have stopped in front of a large airplane hangar. The big bay doors are closed, so he can't see inside. For a moment, he isn't worried about being in a strange place without Daddy or Cassie or Bear. He knows what the bright light means. The aliens couldn't kill the power here. It also means Parker told the truth. The camp does have a force field. It has to. They don't care if the others know about the camp. They are perfectly safe. Megan's breath is heavy in his ear, and he turns to look at her. Her eyes are huge in the glare of the floodlights. She grabs his hand. Don't leave me, she begs. The big man heaves himself onto the bus. He stands beside the driver, hands on hips. He has a wide, fleshy face and very small eyes. Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to Camp Haven. My name is Major Bob. I know you're tired and hungry, maybe a little scared. Who's a little scared right now? Raise your hand. No hands go up. 26 pairs of eyes stare blankly at him, and Major Bob grins. His teeth are small, like his eyes. That's outstanding, and you know what? You shouldn't be scared. Our camp is the safest place in the whole ding-dong world right now. I kid you not. You're all perfectly safe. He turns to one of the smiling soldiers who hands him a clipboard. Now, there are only 2 rules here at Camp Haven. Rule number 1, remember your colors. Everybody hold up your colors. 25 fists fly into the air. The 26th, Megan's, remains in her lap. Reds, in a couple of minutes, you'll be escorted into hangar number 1 for processing. Greens, sit tight. You've got a little farther to go. Not going, Megan whispers in Sammy's ear. Rule number 2, Major Bob booms. Rule number 2 is 2 words. Listen and follow. That's easy to remember, right? Rule 2, 2 words. Listen to your group leader. Follow every instruction your group leader gives you. Don't question and don't talk back. We all are here for one reason and one reason only, and that's to keep you guys safe. And we can't keep you guys safe unless you guys listen and follow all the instructions right away. No questions. He hands the clipboard back to the smiling soldier, claps his pudgy hands, and says, Any questions? He just said, Don't ask questions, Megan whispered. And then he asks if we have questions. Outstanding, Major Bob yells. Let's get you processed. Reds, your group leader is Corporal Parker. No running, pushing, or shoving, but keep it moving. No breaking line, and no talking. And remember to show your stamp at the door. Let's move it, people. The sooner we get you processed, the sooner you can catch some sleep and have some breakfast. I'm not saying the food is the best in the world, but there's plenty of it. He lumbers down the steps. The bus rocks with each footfall. Sammy starts to get up, and Megan yanks him back down. Don't leave me, she says again. But I'm a red, Sammy protests. He feels sorry for Megan, but he's anxious to leave. It feels like he's been on the bus forever. And the sooner the buses are empty, the sooner they can turn around and go back for Cassie and Daddy. It's all right, Megan, he tries to comfort her. You heard Parker. They're going to make everybody better. He falls into line and behind the other Reds. Parker is standing at the bottom of the steps, checking stamps. The driver shouts out, "Hey!" Sammy turns, just as Megan hits the bottom step. She slams into Parker's chest and screams when he grabs her flailing arms. "Let me go!" The driver pulls her from Parker's grip and drags her back up the steps, an arm locked around her waist. "Sammy!" Megan screams. "Sammy, don't leave me! Don't let them—" The doors slam closed, cutting off her cries. Sammy glances up at Parker, who gives him a reassuring pat on the shoulder. "She's gonna be fine, Sam," the medic says quietly. "Come on." As he walks to the hangar, he can hear her screaming behind the yellow metal skin of the bus, over the throaty growl of its engine, the hiss of its brakes letting go, screaming as if she's dying, as if they're torturing her. And then he steps through a side door into the hangar, and he can't hear her anymore. A soldier is just standing inside the door. He hands Sammy a card with the number 49 printed on it. "Go to the closest red circle," the soldier tells him. "Sit down. Wait for your number to be called." I gotta get over to the hospital now," Parker says. "Stay frosty, champ. And remember, it's all cool now. There's nothing that can hurt you here." He tussles Sammy's hair, promises he'll see him again soon, and gives him a fist bump before leaving. There are no planes in the huge hangar, much to Sammy's disappointment. He'd never seen a fighter jet up close, though he has piloted one 1,000 times since the arrival. While his mother lay dying down the hall, he was in the cockpit of a fighting falcon soaring at the edge of the atmosphere 3 times the speed of sound, heading straight toward the alien mothership. Sure, its gray hull bristled with gun turrets and ray cannons, and its force field glowed a fiendish sickly green. But there was a weakness in the field, a hole only 2 inches wider than his fighter, that if he hit it just right, and he'd have to hit it just right, because the whole squadron had been wiped out, and he was down to his last missile, and there was no one left to defend Earth from the alien horde but him, Sammy the Viper Sullivan. 3 large red circles have been painted on the floor. Sam joins the other children in one close to the door and sits down. He can't get Megan's terrified screams out of his head. Her huge eyes and the way her skin shimmered with sweat and the sick smell of her breath. Cassie told him that Peggy told him that pesky ants was over, that it had killed off all the people it was going to kill because some people couldn't catch it, like Cassie and Daddy and him and everyone else at Camp Ash Pit. They were immune, Cassie said. But what if Cassie's wrong? Maybe the disease took longer to kill some people. Maybe it's killing Megan right now. Or maybe, he thinks, the others have unleashed a second plague, one even worse than the pesky ants, one that will kill everyone who survived the first one. He pushes the thought away. Since the death of his mother, he's become good at pushing bad thoughts away. There were over 100 kids gathered into 3 circles, but the hangar is very quiet. The boy sitting next to Sammy is so exhausted. He lies down on his side on the cold concrete, curls into a ball, and falls asleep. The boy is older than Sammy, maybe 10 or 11, and he sleeps with his thumb tucked firmly between his lips. A bell rings, and then a lady's voice blares over a loudspeaker, first in English, then in Spanish. "Welcome, children, to Camp Haven. We are so happy to see all of you. We know you're tired and hungry, and some of you aren't feeling very well, but everything will be fine now. Stay in your circle and listen carefully for your number to be called. Don't leave your circle for any reason. We don't want to lose any of you. Stay quiet and calm, and remember that we're here to take care of you. You're perfectly safe." A moment later, the first number is called out. A child raises from his red circle and is escorted by a soldier to a door painted the same color at the far end of the hangar. The soldier takes the card from him and opens the door. The child goes in alone. The soldier closes the door and returns to his station beside a red circle. Each circle has 2 soldiers, both heavily armed. But they smile. All the soldiers smile. They never stop smiling. One by one, the children's numbers are called. They leave their circle, cross the hangar door, and disappear behind the red door. They don't come back. It takes almost an hour for the lady to call Sammy's number. Morning comes, and sunlight breaks through the high windows, filling the hangar with golden light. He's very tired, ravenously hungry, and a little stiff from sitting too long, so he leaps up when he hears it. 49! Proceed to the red door, please. Number 49! And in his hurry, nearly trips over the sleeping boy beside him. A nurse is waiting for him on the other side of the door. He knows she's a nurse because she's wearing green scrubs and soft-soled sneakers like Nurse Rachel from his doctor's office. Her smile is warm like Nurse Rachel's, too, and she takes his hand and leads him into a small room. There's a hamper overflowing with dirty clothing and paper robes hanging from hooks next to a white curtain. Okay, champ, the nurse says. How long has it been since you've had a bath? She laughs at his startled expression. Then the nurse whips back the white curtain to reveal a shower stall. Everything comes off and into the hamper. Yes, even the underwear. We love children here, but not lice or ticks or anything with more than 2 legs. Though he protests, the nurse insists on doing the chore herself. He stands with his arms folded in front of him while she squirts a stream of foul-smelling shampoo into his hair and suds his entire body from his head to his toes. Keep your eyes closed tight or it'll burn, the nurse gently instructs him. She lets him dry himself off and then tells him to put on one of the paper robes. Go through that door over there. She points at the door at the other end of the room. The robe is much too big for him. The bottom of it trails the floor as he goes to the next room. Another nurse is waiting there for him. She's heavier than the first one, older, and not quite so friendly. She has Sammy step onto the scale, writes down his weight on a clipboard beside his number, and then has him hop onto the examination table. She places a metal disc, the same kind Parker used on the bus, against his forehead. I'm taking your temperature, she explains. He nods. I know, Parker told me. Red means normal. You're red, all right, nurse says. Her fingers press on his wrist, taking his pulse. Sammy shivers. He's goosebumpy cold in all the flimsy robe and a little scared. He never liked going to the doctor, and he's worried that they might give him a shot. The nurse sits down in front of him and says she needs to ask some questions. He's supposed to listen carefully and answer as honestly as he can. If he doesn't know the answer, that's okay. Does he understand? What's his full name? How old is he? What town is he from? Did he have any brothers or sisters? Are they alive? Cassie says. Cassie's alive. The nurse writes down Cassie's name. How old was Cassie? Cassie is 16. They're going back to get her, Sammy tells the nurse. Who is? The soldiers. The soldiers said there wasn't any room for her, but they were going back to get her and Daddy. Daddy? So your father is alive too? What about your mother? Sammy shakes his head, bites his lower lip. He shudders violently, so cold. He remembers 2 empty seats on the bus, the one Parker sat next to him and the one he sat in next to Megan. He blurts out, They said there was no room on the bus, but there was room. Daddy and Cassie could have come too. Why didn't the soldiers let them come? The nurse answers, Because you're the first priority, Samuel. But they're going to bring them too, right? Eventually, yes. More questions. How did his mother die? What happened after that? The nurse's pen flies over the page. She gets up and pats his bare knee. Don't be scared, she tells him before she leaves. You're perfectly safe here. Her voice sounds flat to Sammy, like she's repeating something she's said 1,000 times. Sit tight, the doctor will be there in a minute. Feels much longer than a minute to Sammy. He wraps his thin arms around his chest, trying to hold in his body heat. His eyes restlessly roam the little room. a sink and cabinet, the chair the nurse sat in, a rolling stool in one corner, and mounted from the ceiling directly above the stool, a camera, its gleaming black eye aimed directly at the examination table. The nurse comes back in, followed by the doctor. Dr. Pam is as tall and thin as the nurse is short and round. Immediately, Sammy feels calmer. There is something about the tall doctor lady that reminds him of his mother. Maybe it's the way she talks to him, looking directly into his eyes, her voice warm and gentle. Her hands are warm too. She doesn't wear gloves to touch him like the nurse did. She does what he expects, the doctor stuff he's used to. Shines a light in his eyes, in his ears, down his throat, listens to him breathe through the stethoscope, rubs beneath his jaw, but not too hard, all the while humming softly under her breath. Lie all the way back, Sam. Firm fingers pressing on his belly. Any pain when I do this? She has him stand up, bend over, reach for his toes, while she runs her hands up and down along his spine. Okay, sport, hop back on the table. He jumps back quickly onto the crinkly paper, sensing the visit is almost over. There won't be a shot. Maybe he'll prick his finger, and that's no fun, but at least there won't be a shot. Hold out your hand for me. Dr. Pam places a tiny gray tube, no larger than a thin grain of rice, into his palm. You know what this is? It's called a microchip. Did you ever have a pet dog or cat, Sammy? No. His father is allergic. He always wanted a dog, though. Well, some owners put a device very much like this one into their pets in case they run away or get lost. This one's a little different, though. It puts out a signal that we can track. It goes just underneath the skin, the doctor explains. And no matter where Sammy is, they'll be able to find him, just in case something happens. It's very safe here at Camp Haven. But just a few months ago, everyone thought the world was safe from an alien attack, so now we have to be careful. We have to take every precaution. He stops listening after the words, underneath the skin. They're going to inject that great tube into him. Fear begins to gnaw anew around the edges of his heart. It won't hurt, the doctor says, sensing the nibbling fear. We'll give you a little shot to numb you first, then you'll just have a small sore spot for a day or two. The doctor is very kind. You can see that she understands how much he hates shots, and she really doesn't want to do it. She has to do it. She shows him the needle used for the shot to numb him. It's very tiny, hardly wider than a human hair. Like a mosquito bite, the doctor says. That isn't so bad. He's been bitten by mosquitoes lots of times, and Dr. Pam promises he won't feel the great tube go in. He won't feel anything at all after the numbing shot. He lies on his tummy, tucking his face into the crook of his elbow. The room is cold, and the swipe of the alcohol at the base of his neck makes him shudder violently. The nurse tells him to relax. The more you tense up, the sorer you'll be, she tells him. He tries to think of something nice, something that will take his mind off of what's about to happen. He sees Cassie's face in his mind's eye, and he's surprised. He expected to see his mother's face. Cassie is smiling. He smiles back at her, into the crook of his arm. A mosquito that must be the size of a bird bites down hard on the back of his neck. He doesn't move, but whimpers softly against his skin. In less than a minute, it's over. Number 49 has been tagged. Someone messaged me on Hangouts.
Hello. Again. Sorry.
Hey.
Just
From
listening while
Crow.
we were reading. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
From Crow, he was wondering if Malum could ask if I could discuss the issue about South Africa.
Oh.
Yeah.
Please, no problems. Suck of problems.
Yeah.
Well,
Just
it's
a
one more
little-
chapter, and then we'll go into the next topic.
Cappuccino.
It's not very long at all. It's
Knock it off the counter.
just
Knock
about.
the problems off the counter.
That's just one more chapter in part 5, so.
Yay.
Alright.
Wait, this is
40.
a really long ass book.
Huh?
Yeah, it's a long ass book.
Oh, yeah. And I think we're almost halfway through it. 40. After the doctor bandages the insertion point, she makes a note in his chart, hands the chart to the nurse, and tells Sammy there's just one more test. He follows the doctor into the next room. It's much smaller than the examination room, hardly larger than a closet. In the middle of the room is a chair that reminds Sammy of the one at his dentist's, narrow and high-backed, thin armrests on either side. The doctor tells him to have a seat, lean all the way back, head back too, that's right, stay relaxed. Whir. The back of the chair lowers, the front rises, bringing up his legs until he is almost fully reclined. Doctor's face comes into view, smiling. Okay, Sam, you've been very patient with us. This is the last test, promise. It doesn't last long, and it doesn't hurt, but sometimes it can be a little, well, intense. It's a test of the implant we put in to make sure it's working okay. It takes a few minutes to run, and you have to keep very, very still. That can be hard to do, can't it? You can't wiggle, squirm, or even scratch your nose, or it will ruin the test. Think you can do that? Sammy nods. He is returning the doctor's warm smile. I've played freeze tag before, he assures her. I'm really good at it. Good, but just in case, I'm going to put these straps around your wrists and ankles. Not very tight, but just in case your nose does start to itch. Straps will remind you to keep still. Will that be okay? Sammy nods. When he's strapped in, she says, Okay, I'm going to step over to the computer now. The computer is going to send a signal to calibrate the transponder, and the transponder is going to send a signal back. It doesn't take more than a few seconds, but it may feel longer, maybe a lot longer. Different people react in different ways. Ready to give it your try? Okay, good. Close your eyes. Keep them closed until I say you can open them. Take big, deep breaths. Here we go. Keep those eyes closed now. Counting down from 3, 2, 1. Blinding white fireball explodes inside Sammy Sullivan's head. His body stiffens. His legs strain against the restraints. His tiny fingers lock onto the chair arms. He hears the doctor's soothing voice on the other side of the blinding light saying, It's all right, Sammy. Don't be afraid. Just a few more seconds, I promise. He sees his crib, and there's Bear lying next to him in the crib. And then there's the mobile of stars and planets spinning lazily over his bed. He sees his mother leaning over him, holding a spoonful of medicine and telling him he has to take it. There's Cassie in the backyard, and it's summer, and he's toddling around in a pair of pull-ups. And Cassie is spraying water from the hose high into the air, so a rainbow springs up out of nothing. She whips the hose back and forth, laughing as he chases it. The fleeting, uncatchable colors, shimmering splinters of golden light. Catch the rainbow, Sammy! Catch the rainbow! The images and memories pour out of him like water rushing down a drain. In no more than 90 seconds, the entirety of Sammy's life roars out of him and into the mainframe. An avalanche of touch and smell and taste and sound, before fading into the white nothingness. His mind is laid bare in the blinding light. All that he has experienced, all that he remembers, even those things that he can't remember. Everything that makes up the perfect personality of Sammy Sullivan is pulled and sorted and transmitted by the device at the base of his neck into Dr. Pam's computer. Number 49 has been mapped. Dr. Pam undoes the straps and helps him out of the chair. Sammy's knees give out. She holds onto his arms to keep him from falling. His stomach heaves, and he vomits on the white floor. Everywhere he looks, black blobs jiggle and bounce. The big, unsmiling nurse takes him back to the examination room, puts him on the table, tells him everything is fine, asks if she can bring him anything. I want my bear, he screams. I want my daddy and my Cassie. I want to go home. Dr. Pam appears beside him. Her kind eyes glow with understanding. She knows what he's feeling. She tells him how brave he is, how brave and lucky and smart to have come this far. He passed the final test of flying colors. He's perfectly healthy and perfectly safe. The worst is over. That's what my daddy said every time something bad happened, and every time it just got worse, Sammy says, choking back tears. They bring him a white jumpsuit to put on. Reminds him of a fighter pilot's outfit, zipped in the front, the material slick to the touch. The suit is too big for him. The sleeves keep falling over his hands. Do you know why you're here? You're so important to us, Sammy? Dr. Pam asks. Because you're the future. Without you and all those other children, you won't stand a chance against them. That's why we searched for you and brought you here, and why we're doing all this. You know some of the things they've done to us, and they're terrible, terrible, awful things. But that isn't the worst part. That isn't everything they've done. What else have they done? Sammy whispers. Do you really want to know? I can show you, but only if you want to know. In the White Room, he had just relived his mother's death, smelled her coppery blood, watched his father wash it from his hands. But those weren't the worst things the others had done, the doctor said. Did he really want to know? I want to know, he says. The doctor holds up the small silver disc the nurse had used to take his temperature. The same device Parker had pressed against his and Megan's foreheads on the bus. This isn't a thermometer, Sammy, Dr. Pam says. It does detect something, but it isn't your temperature. It tells us who you are, or maybe I should say what you are. Tell me something, Sam. Have you ever seen them yet? Have you ever seen an alien? He shakes his head no. Shivering inside the white suit, curled up on the little examination table, sick to his stomach, head pounding, weak from the hunger and exhaustion. Something inside him wants her to stop. He nearly shouts out, Stop! I don't want to know! He bites his lip. He doesn't want to know. He has to know. I'm very sorry to say you have seen one, Dr. Pam says in a soft, sad voice. We all have. We've been waiting for them to come since the arrival. But the truth is, they've been here, right under our noses, for a very long time. He is shaking his head over and over. Dr. Pam is wrong. He's never seen one. For hours he'd listened to Daddy, speculating about what they might look like. Heard his father say they might never know what they look like. There had been no messages from them, no landers, no signs of their existence except the grayish-green mothership in high orbit and the unnamed drones. How could Dr. Pam be saying he had seen one? She holds out her hand. If you want to see, I can show you. That's the end of part 5. All right. Any final comments or about what I just read or
Well, it's actually very interesting about the mention of that locator chip that was put into the back of his neck. They
Yeah.
made it they tried to make it sound like that it was somehow different from locating their pets. Which for me, no, this is coming from a furry that's a weirdo and all, but seriously, that does sound like they are equating the poor kid to a pet, to a
Yeah.
dog, to a pet.
Yeah, they failed to sugarcoat things around him.
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm just
Well,
thinking,
and
check
if they,
first. Do you want to see an alien? Do you want to know how I got these scars?
wow.
No.
Yeah.
Nein! I want to get a part of the alien.
Sigvald! I really should get a stall helm just to piss off the no, a pickle helm just to piss off the handcuffs. Because I know damn well they wouldn't know the difference.
Oh, yes. No, they would not.
No.
But I mean, at least if I ever decide to try and ram somebody with the headbutt, I'll impale them.
Wow.
Think about it. Stall helms have more than one use. It's bad.
Oh, jeez.
Cropcircle.com. I'm definitely going to one.
Hmm.
Oh, Malum, did you notice on my server that I announced a premiere of the video responding to that Afrikaans status you mentioned?
Yep. Actually, I didn't see it personally. Crow told me. So,
Yeah, I've yet to see it.
Ah,
yep. So who's
well,
all in it? Is it just
it's
you
going to-
or huh?
it's just me. Anyway, it's going to premiere on Thursday at 3 p.m.
All right.
I'll be able to see it when it premieres.
Don't
Cool.
hurt him too much.
Hmm.
He might be
I
a little
probably already did.
like
I probably already did.
Not
Just
surprising.
because I was that just because I was that angry with him for that picture of
Moloch.
the invisible hand and the implied message, using that using a dead child as a shield against criticism.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
there's-
so Malum.
You want to make an enemy? You want to make an enemy of life out of me? That's one way to do it.
Yep.
So
Alrighty.
Malum, you so it's something you want to mention about South Africa?
Oh yeah. Did you get a chance to see that video I sent you from what was it called? Loving Life, either the main channel or is Loving Life 2019 about the state of the environment there in communist South Africa?
No, I haven't.
I have not. I don't even know what you're referring to.
Yeah, I sent a link to Marianne on YouTube, but so you know how okay, so this is for everybody else, I guess, the people that might be watching your videos.
Mhm.
You know how capitalists or communists love to say capitalism destroys the environment is all that, and then we have all the graphs showing that capitalism promotes the wealth of the environment alone. In
Yeah, I
other
mean,
words,
look at
like in
Los
the case of
Angeles.
logging companies, the all-time favorite, like one of my favorite ones, in the case of logging companies, they actually have nurseries just so that they can maintain a guaranteed wood supply. Meanwhile, in South Africa, they just renamed one of their primary rivers into the shit river
Oh, God.
because it is so polluted with human excrement
Oh, God.
and
Yeah,
so
God.
much plastic. Like basically, they're saying there's going to be so a lot of the environmentalists and Center for Disease Controls and all that stuff. World Health Organization are predicting there's going to be a massive cholera and malaria outbreak within the next 3 years.
Jeez.
Oh,
Big
no.
surprise.
That doesn't look good. That doesn't
Well, that's the funny thing. Jamestown did something kind of like that way back when. They
Yep.
made a shit river as well, and basically
Oh,
just
God.
so did
doing upstream
so did
and
Plymouth.
well, yeah.
What's happening? I just came back. Sorry. I had to leave for a minute.
Yeah,
So-
you saw it quite.
Stop.
Well, we just finished part 5 of the book, and now we're talking about something really disastrous going on in South Africa.
Yep.
Hmm.
Basically,
Jesse,
the
my friend?
environment is being destroyed by communism. So anybody that's like,
Lol.
yeah, any leftist that happens to be seeing this and listening to me, the Green New Deal will destroy the trees. If you really want to save the trees, start grabbing some green. Isn't that
Yeah.
And not just leaves.
I love the way you say that. Oh,
Oh yeah, Malum.
Yeah?
Yeah, that reminds me. In the video that's going to premiere on Thursday, I said midway through the video Video, granting it to Coplander. Once you become another Zimbabwe because you refuse to get the memo, in reference to how politicians do not care in the least, don't come crying to us. You chose your fate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
spoiler alert.
Mm.
Did you guys
I
see my
chose
drawing
to
in the
mention
chat?
Zimbabwe since that's the only next door to him.
Yeah,
I
my
can see
I'm
that.
out of data, so I
Well,
don't see anything.
due to the fact Zimbabwe is so close to South Africa.
What is
What?
happening here? There's like 3 conversations going on. What the fuck? I can't understand anyone.
That's like that, dude. That's like every single call we have.
I
Yeah, I
know
know.
that, and it's 8.
All right, one at a time. Mag, you asked about your drawing. I saw it. It's nice.
Uh-huh.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Mm.
And
I'm
I was
working on
saying that
that.
I can't see anything because I'm out of high-speed data.
No.
Mm.
Did you try the duct tape thing?
Nope, not yet.
Do-
I'm gonna see if it works for cache first before I do anything screwy with my phone.
It already works for. Dude, you just never mind.
I'm waiting 1 month. I'm waiting.
Well, that's just it. It does work. I've tried it myself, and it does.
How long have you had it on?
Let's see. It's been. Well, I've started since the beginning of April, and I usually would have ran out of data by now the way I'm using it.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, Malum, did you catch what I said about comparing the future of South Africa to Zimbabwe, at the very least?
Yeah, I hate to say this, but no matter what, we're going to be seeing South Africa and South Africa following the route of Zimbabwe. We're talking about less than 5 million people, up against almost 79 million people.
Jeez.
So
yeah, basically, what I'm saying, that basically that's part of my response to Coplander midway. Once you become another Zimbabwe because you refuse to get a memo in reference to how politicians simply do not care at all, don't come crying to us. You chose your fate. I direct that squarely at Coplander.
I would probably throw in, remember it was the liberals that sold you out, and every time you have a government, it's always going to be the liberals that sell you out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, neocons aren't any better.
Yep. Try not to make an enemy out of them, because remember, I'm trying to do what I can to try and rescue the Boer that are being genocided. So last thing we really want to do is make enemies with them. Like, yeah, definitely tell them they need to be careful, but try not to make an enemy with them. So
it's already going to premiere on Thursday, so it's already going to premiere, so it's too late to go back now.
Yep.
And you know me better than to mince words.
Yeah.
If the truth hurts, tough.
True.
Bless you, I guess.
Oh.
That was hiccups, but thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I bless you, or I say bless you to hiccups now.
Might as well.
I swear, every time I hiccup, it
goodness,
just gets
man.
higher and higher and higher pitched.
Yeah, anyway, yeah. He already tried to make an enemy of ANCAP, so all bets are off as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it did really piss me off when he said we're worshippers of Moloch. Like,
What?
really?
The fuck is Moloch?
Yeah, isn't Moloch
Yeah,
no
you
different
messed
than
with
Satan?
me.
Just saying.
Yeah.
The archdemon of greed that you also sacrifice babies to.
Ooh,
Yeah, ironic because
Yay.
incredibly familiar.
Yeah,
That guy
ironic
does
because
not understand how anti-cult we are.
Wow.
Yeah, anyway, can I finish now?
No.
I was just about to say the same.
Oh, you.
Anyway, ironic that they call us greedy when socialism hitches upon covetousness of other people's things.
Yeah, indeed.
Where did I read that in the
Cover
Bible?
your neighbor's belongings.
Wait a second. I don't think Kaplan. I think Kaplander's a nationalist. I mean, don't get me wrong. All forms of government are socialism. The difference is that Kaplander sees the need of a strong right-wing government, even though we already know it's just going to expand in power into a socialist structure.
Oh yeah.
He's unless they were to try something along the lines of proprietarianism, in which case ANCAPs could literally use the system to keep it from ever expanding while trying to get our own little free territory thing going. Highly unlikely, but yeah, I still have my reserves on. I can see how to use the government, but I still don't want to see it.
Yep.
Let the state die. That's all I'm gonna say.
Knock it off.
Yeah,
the
let
counter.
it starve and collapse
knock
on
it
its
off the
own
counter.
weight.
Well, you get what I'm saying about the irony of calling us greedy, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where have I read about that before? Oh yes, the 10th commandment
Mm-hmm.
in the Bible.
Yep. She'll covet your neighbor's stuff.
Belongings.
Whatever.
Good enough.
Gives enough.
Mm-hmm.
Kitty, knock the state off the counter. Liz.
Phew! Crash. Done.
I'm looking through different types of cosplay and body armor and ninja gear, and it's just like, fuck.
What?
I'm looking through different types of body armor, cosplay, and ninja gear.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And I'm
I've
talking
seen
like
some-
actual functional stuff. Some stuff that could actually be used today in the real world for self-defense and stuff. Not like you won't catch me out there with nunchaku. I can guarantee that. Because that's like,
Proceed.
nope. You might catch crow with nunchaku, but more or less, I want something to
please.
punch to knock your lights out hard.
Nunchaku
Mel, I
aren't
left
my
you some
thing.
messages.
Shuriken are more my thing.
What was that, Koi?
I left you a few messages if you saw them.
Alrighty, I'm gonna have to leave the chat because otherwise it'll screw with the chat. So I'll be right
Okay.
back.
Alrighty.
Bye bye.
Alright.
There we go.
I wonder
Yeah, I
if he's
remember
okay
well.
with us.
If I don't talk very much, I'm gonna say sorry now. I'm still drawing.
Do you think
It's fine.
Melon will have an issue of us telling our running joke? Here, let me ask him.
You might want to DM him about it.
Yeah, so let me say.
Because
I'm
I don't know what
gonna
you're
ask
talking
him.
about.
Yeah. Hmm.
So yeah, it was quite a while back when we first talked about that guy who says that we all worship Moloch. And
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
it's really
Who the fuck
funny.
is
It's
Moloch?
really funny, outlandish claim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, who the fuck
Very
is Moloch?
typical of guys like him.
Who the
Mhm.
fuck is Moloch?
Molech is the Canaanite deity.
Guys,
Hey, Marianne,
Yes.
guys, who the
Molech. Marianne, please.
yeah, who the fuck is Moloch?
Molech. I'm trying to answer.
Go for it.
Thank you. All right. Molech is the Canaanite. Is one of the deities of the. Is one of the Canaanite deities of the Ammonite pantheon.
I don't even know what the fuck that is. How do I worship something I don't even know what it is?
Exactly.
I mean, I only really know about him because one, I've read the Bible, and two, I come across stuff like this all the time.
Good for
Not
you.
Not necessarily in politics.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh my
Molech
God, it's
is
so pathetic.
associated. Yeah, Molech is associated with child sacrifice.
Ugh.
That's exactly why he makes that reference. So,
Well, that
So you can-
is that.
so
That's
you
why
can
it's
pretty
so
much
fucking
guess why I was
ironic.
kicked off.
Let
Wingers.
Yeah, it is
that
ironic.
finish.
Oh my God.
Are we? Am I gonna continue with why it's ironic?
sex interrupting now.
Go ahead, Crow. You were saying?
Okay, so the main reason that it is ironic that a left winger talks about Molech as though it were a bad thing is that they basically practice the very things that Molech would support, aka abortions / child sacrifice.
Yeah,
Hang on,
makes
Crow.
sense.
And putting them in
Hang
horrible
on, Crow.
public
Hang on,
schools.
hang on. I'm not sure he even supports abortion. I never even. Do you know if the guy supports abortion, Melon?
He probably doesn't.
Given his nationalistic from what I understand, he's a nationalist. I don't know what kind of nationalist, but from my understanding, all nationalists do not support abortion at all.
Good.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure he's a quote unquote leftist. I mean,
No.
when he started,
If he was any type of socialism, I'd probably say the nationalist socialist type. But I think he's just I think he's just more or less like the alt right.
that's my impression too.
Yeah, I think he's an ethno-nationalist, which is pretty common in South Africa among the whites there because they're actually targeted for. I'm not going to go into details, but it's pretty bad what's going on with them. So I mean, there's a reason for a want for an ethno state there because they've ever since the government was turned over into a democracy with control to Nelson Mandela, a known communist terrorist, like the guy actually did lead bombings and stuff. Like he was an actual terrorist.
Yeah, and everyone they glorify him in the mainstream media.
Oh yeah, liberal especially, and so basically a liberal took power in South Africa and changed over and basically made the ANC a legitimate from a terrorist organization into a legitimate party, which then quickly banned the Nationalist Party and basically if you're white, you're not allowed into any position of power. You're not allowed into any position of finance. Basically, they've been slow boiling them. So, and yeah.
Really hope they don't take their notes over in America. Otherwise, I'm screwed.
May I say something?
No.
Fuck you.
I have to say that every time someone says that.
Go ahead, Coy.
Yeah, I was trying to say the funny thing how I learned that the truth about Nelson Mandela was actually not from a political podcast, but they get political every so often. Bad creepypasta, or that's what they're called, bad creepypasta, where they read terrible creepypastas, and they had running jokes with him for whatever reason. Because the main guy there, Jacob can do his voice really well.
I was about to say I thought you were about to say Jacob Zuma.
No, Jacob Sherwood, his name is. By the way, you guys need to check him out. He's freaking hilarious.
Okay. I would say that Carpenter's bit about allusion to child sacrifice is ironic because look what government does all the time.
Indeed.
Well, keep in mind that there's because of the combination between the Rothschilds, a great deal of leftist propaganda of leftist control with the Jewish with basically having a bunch of Zionists at the top. They think capitalism is a Zionist thing, and so especially because of the Rothschilds. Yeah.
Malum, there are too many points of exposure for that conspiracy theory to even be possible.
That's what I'm trying to point out.
I really appreciate you guys just talking over me all the time. I used to love it, you know. Yeah, now I don't even remember what I was fucking saying. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Fuck you.
That's the glory of streaming.
Yep.
Actually, go ahead. Sorry.
I already told you. I fucking forgot already.
I thought you were about to talk again.
we
So-
hear you when you were talking.
Yeah, basically, they think that ANCAPs especially are, from my general understanding, everybody thinks of what we call corporatism is what everybody else thinks we are.
Dude, what
Basically,
the
corporatist suck-ups.
fuck?
So-
What?
They've been
They
saying
think
that for a while.
Saying what?
Dude, you
What was it,
completely
Mal?
cut out when you were saying that.
Yeah, could you repeat what you said, please?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
So basically, a great deal of them, they have no understanding of what we believe in, and
Mhm.
they genuinely believe that we are corporatist, that we're basically corporatist sellouts, and that basically they think that we support what the United States has become.
No.
So yeah,
Wouldn't that be
No.
nationalist?
well, I wouldn't say the United States is nationalist. Maybe fascistic corporatist, but I mean,
I would
in other
agree to
words,
that.
yeah, I mean, we're fascistic. Our economic model is a fascistic corporatism. So, so I
Yeah.
can see us
Yeah.
being called fascists, but that's about it.
Mal, may I interject?
Yeah.
Yeah. That thing about saying that we are for corporatism and the United States policies, I see that as nothing more than projection. Because that's exactly what pro-government nut bars are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot about the other thing they're always worried about. So one thing about nationalists is that they have a pride of their heritage and their histories and stuff like that. Kind of like how we're proud of Caspia, medieval Iceland, ancient Ireland, although that might need to be looked back into. I'm getting mixed signals on that. Anyway, so basically, kind of like how we're proud of our history, nationalists are proud of theirs, and the one thing everybody forgets about is that one thing a lot of us seem to forget is everything. Like basically, when I die, I want to leave my kids something. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I want to leave them my legacy, and that's the thing, is that everybody has a shared legacy, and that's something we often forget about because of our hyper individualism, and that's what they see. They don't see us for the good that we're trying to propose. They see us as a destruction to their culture without realizing that their culture can survive within our system.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
Well, the difference between
Yep.
ANCAPs and the nationalists, though, is because we more look up to or are proud of like things that are people who shared our ideas, not our race. So, like, I don't have
that's
any or whatever. You get the idea. Because I don't share any ancestry of any of the places that you talked about, but that I know of. But I agree with their philosophies.
Yep. Yeah, there's two types of there's different types of nationalists. You have civic nationalists, which is what the United States is. You have ethno nationalists, which is basically nationalism based on an ethnic grounding. And
Or in
the
other
key
words,
thing for
Japan.
them, yeah, Japan's actually a great example. They're actually Nazis in Japan.
Oof.
Their system is literally the Nazi system.
Oofies.
Nationalistic and
It's
socialistic.
not even capitalistic. It's just socialistic. Oh, did you say capital or national?
Nationalistic.
For some reason I heard capitalistic.
So wait,
I was
they're
gonna
still
say, how the
socialist
fuck do
over
we do
there?
both? What?
They are socialist.
Yeah. They also have a deep rooted ritualistic culture as well. So
That would explain why Nintendo's so anal with their copyright.
well, they're
Oh, I got the stream taken down. Oh, sorry guys.
man, you just bought it out, dude.
Who, me?
I said coincidence? I think not.
Oh, I thought you said bought it out.
Thought, be gone, thought. Sorry.
Russian bought it out. The Russian bought it out. The HK slap. I'm just thinking, what if guns could talk?
What if guns could talk?
Yeah.
If they could talk.
I think there was Coffee made a video about that on Freedom Tunes.
Yeah, they did.
Well,
Oh, and
or
Mel.
something like that.
Mel, did you
I'd
see
pay
that
to
one?
see that.
Thank you again, Mag, for interrupting me. Jesus.
I didn't mean to. Sorry.
Mel, as I was trying to say, give me a second. I remember. Yeah, I remember now. There was a Let's Play for this surreal horror game, or not exactly, maybe not horror game, but this surreal game that I sent you. I think I sent you a while back called Middens or something. I think it is, and it's about a guy who uses a talking gun.
Oh, that, yeah.
Anywho,
I don't know.
yeah,
As you're going to say, Zach?
yeah, pretty much the whole thing with the Cobbler's video on quote-unquote ANCAPs is basically making jabs at the ZACP, the Capitalist Party of South Africa, which leads me to believe that he's actually not talking about ANCAPs at all. He's just saying that in order to conduct a smear campaign against us.
Yeah.
Actually, the thing is that so the Capitalist Party of South Africa is basically similar to our Libertarian Party, except the difference is that they don't have the big money that we do. So their system hasn't been corrupted yet. Keyword yet.
Like
So
I
their
said,
party is actually still pure. Just they're still focused on the gradualist system, hoping to remember the whole idea. Part of the idea, besides trying to get people in to vote out and get rid of laws, was and in order to enact gradualism, was also to educate everybody on capitalism and the actual dangers of government by providing something for everybody to point to. And that's more or less what they're doing right now. In other words, they're basically live action variants of Filthy Heretic and Esoteric Entities videos right now. So, yeah.
Well, it's a good thing I said in that video that's premiering either the person Cutler referred to as non-anarchist or happens to be a gradualist. Take your pick. That's part of my response to him.
Well, gradualists can still be anarchists. The whole thing is that gradualists, and this is actually where I fall under. I understand most people.
Like I said, either the person is not an anarchist or he is a gradualist. I just said that. I was not denying that gradualists are anarchists.
Oh, I thought you said is a gradualist or an anarchist, and I was going to say, wait a second, what? Okay, never mind. False correction.
Yeah, because Cutler asked why an anarchist would go to the trouble of making a party that likely would not win an election. And I said, because he's either an anarchist or he happens to be a gradualist. That's part of my response.
Yep.
Of course, I was so angry at the time, I entertained the option of the person being not an anarchist throughout the video, because I was that angry with the person for using a kid as a shield against criticism.
Oh, and speaking of smear campaigns, can I have a word in?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Like yesterday, last night I was watching. You guys know Shoe on Head, right?
Yes.
I heard of her.
So, anyways,
Yes.
she did a video response to some pedophile responding to her video about she got angry about the whole pedophile acceptance bullshit. And the guy, like, he claims to be a libertarian, and he got angry that ANCAPs were taking over over libertarianism. So it's like, yeah, guess what? Pedophiles don't like us. Who'd have thunk?
Yeah, the funny thing is that we've pointed it. We've pointed out that I pointed that out in her video. It's like, wait a second, libertarians don't support pedophilia.
Yeah, so he's not a libertarian.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure the
It's
guy knows
great.
that he, because because the funny thing is, because Postal Cat pointed this out on Twitter, because they constantly accuse us of all being child molesters, but then when we point out a pedophile would not last very long in Ancapistani if they acted on their impulses, and they get angry over it. It's
I think it's
Yeah.
funny how he also quickly identified himself with the socialist movements, communist socialist movement.
yeah, of course.
Well, that's because the communists like to call themselves libertarian. They're trying to co-opt libertarians to themselves. So
Yeah, you can't be a.
It seems
you
like
can't-
everybody wants to co-opt libertarianism.
Jesus
Jeez.
Christ. The only way you can be a socialist or a communist and be libertarian is if you're a voluntary communist or a socialist. So
maybe Bunny Riley.
yeah, exactly. Well,
Mhm.
yeah, but yeah, other than
And
that,
possibly Journey as well.
so yeah,
I don't know much about Journey. I can't.
Journey's a-
I can't say anything good or bad about him. So
I've heard that he's a voluntary commie. So
yeah. Well, the same thing was said about what's his name, Bluism, and he was also in
yeah,
cohorts with
yeah,
Bluism.
but
So it's like he
did
has a
you see
lot
that
to
video?
prove with me.
Sorry,
Mm.
Go
did you
ahead.
see that video that
Yeah.
Bernie did on him though, where he basically called him out on his garbage because he got used by Bluism?
Yeah, but he still did some things.
Yeah, Clay, can I interject, please?
Guys, quit talking over each other, please. Okay, go ahead, Malum.
That was Zachary.
Okay,
Go ahead,
wait.
Zach.
Start over because I didn't even hear what you fucking said.
Yeah,
Go
I was
ahead.
going to say that. Wait, please. I was going to say that it's the funny thing about socialists and other states accusing ANCAPs of pedophilia is that their camp, the status camp, is on
Mhm.
record with a long history
Oh
of that.
yes. Oh yes, I know, dude.
Mhm.
Epstein.
Yeah.
Especially the commies. Because oh my
Can
god, I
somebody
don't even
say
want to talk about what the
projection?
fuck did it. Sorry, go ahead.
Can somebody say projection?
Mm-hmm. Because yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way fucking pedophiles are. Because
It's the kind of projection that you find at a drive-in movie theater. Big and
yeah. There you go.
Yeah. And on the companies trying to co-opt everything,
Ugh.
unfortunately, they've seeped themselves rather deep in the church with their liberation theology.
Well, see, that's
Well,
actually how they succeed. They go in and they do it piece by piece. It's called it's the opposite of gradualism. It's incrementalism. What they do is it's also known as the slow boil. What they do is they take your freedoms away piece by piece so that you don't notice it until one day you wake up and you realize most of your freedoms are gone, kind of like what we're doing now.
Mhm.
Um,
Or what we're
anyway,
experiencing now.
so yep. Anyway, so and have you ever heard of the term rhino?
I have. And
Yes.
it's
Yep.
You're
thrown
talking
out
about
a
the political
lot
party?
amongst conservatives.
Yep.
Oh.
Republicans in name only.
Yep.
Mhm.
So that's what rhino means. And basically all it is, and you can find that especially with the neocons, because they act as the violent branch of communism, basically. Everything the neocons do and support, you basically can find with the military branch of the Soviet Union. That's a funny thing not everybody realizes is that there's really no difference between the warmongering neocons and the warmongering Soviets. And then the domination at home, you find it with the neo-libs. Well, basically everybody in the Democratic Party. But yeah, it's just a lot of weird stuff. So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
and both of them are, of course, bought off by outside interests. So,
Oh yeah. Now I remember what I was gonna say earlier to you, Malum.
yeah, go ahead.
What I was trying to say that was it because you're talking about the Zionists saying that they're Jewish, but it's, like you gotta remember though they're pretending to be Jewish because they're actually anti-Semitic though.
Yep.
Mhm.
Remember, yeah.
Revelations 2:9 and 3:9. If you want to get religious.
yeah, being a guy that leans more towards preterism, I honestly don't see the point in referencing that passage in terms of what's happening now.
Yep. And even then, Zionists can also be classified as Christian. See, there's three types of Zionists. There's the Jewish Zionist, there's the Christian Zionist, and then there's the Islamic Zionist. Basically, it's always about money. Yeah. I don't know too much about the Islamic Zionist. Basically, a great deal of that has to do with what was it? Assisting with basically the destruction of Europe and bringing Israel into power. So, in other words, you could say Saudi Arabia is part of it, much like Israel. The Zionist movement, the Zionism is an evolution and offshoot of Talmudism, which this is all in the conspiracy theory stuff, but there's enough evidence backing it up. It's just I don't know if I should believe it.
You do realize the majority of Jews today are, and even at the founding of Israel, were secular, right?
Yes, I know. And what I'm trying to say is that Zionism is not Judaism. Remember, in Christianity, those that try to instigate the end time prophecies are known as the Pharisees. So basically, these people,
basically rabbis who follow after the Talmud.
Yeah, the Talmud is not Judaism. It's not even Jewish.
If anything,
not even
they are just the writings of what they consider rabbis, aka wise folk.
And even then, it goes all the way back to Babylon.
What did you mean by Pharisees?
Pharisees are people who it's like crap. I forgot the description.
This is my area.
Yeah, that's probably best.
The Pharisees were the first century Hebrew scholars of their day, basically. They were the ones that kept the law, supposedly. The ones that upheld tradition and all that. Of course, I would dispute the validity of pointing out that one Talmud being called the Babylonian Talmud, saying its correlation does not make causation. But anyway, back to what we're saying about the Pharisees.
So basically, the Pharisees,
they were.
The heck? Oh, that's not me. Crap! I lost train.
Yeah, another faction. Sorry, let me finish. Then you can. That might bring back your memory.
Alrighty.
Another faction within Judea was the Sadducees. They were essentially the ones that maintained the temple. They were the priests and whatnot. They stuck strictly to the Torah. They did not even believe in a resurrection of the dead, and stuff like that.
Yeah, the Torah are the ones that are considered the Jews, if I remember right. It's the Torah that, in other words, basically, if I remember, basically in the case of Zionism and the Talmudic Zionism, that whole thing, it's all about bringing about the end times prophecies. In the case of the quote unquote Jewish Zionists, it's they believe they will bring about their Moshiach, or basically their Messiah, and then they will rule. They will have rule over the world. The world will become will basically be mixed. There has to be 3 world wars, and the world will be mixed, with them at the head controlling the world, and everybody else basically being the service class.
Which which passages are you referring to? Which passages?
Which passages?
Yeah, in the Talmud. Which one are you alluding to?
I do not know that much about which passages. I mean, I barely know any of the passages on the Bible, dude. So I just know.
Talking about in reference to in the Talmud. Which ones are you referencing for that? For what you're saying about Zionism?
Give me a second. Hopefully, I have it saved here on my computer.
Yeah, that's something I've yet to ever get into, which was to actually read the Talmud. I've read bits of the Quran before, and a different
Actually-
version of the Bible than I usually read,
Oh.
but still.
Okay, that's not it.
Okay, so why are you two asserting all this?
Give me a second. I'm looking for it. Oh, wait, that's not screenshots. No, it's in a PDF. Where's my PDF file? Okay.
You know what we need to do? I still keep having to do it for my own streams, but we need to get that scene interrupting bear to play every time someone talks over each other.
Yep. Okay, hold on. I think I might have found it. Nope, that's not it.
Or maybe I'll shout every time someone interrupts each other. I'll shout, "Scene interrupting bear."
Nope.
What we really need is a setup. What we really need is for Marianne to structure the interactions we have on stream so that we all have a time limit on how much we talk and then we get to the next person. That's how I'm structuring my streams.
That's actually a good idea.
Wait, what'd you say again? I'm sorry, I was doing something else here. Sorry.
Is that it?
Never mind. I'll just listen to this later.
What he was suggesting, give me a second. Okay, so what he was suggesting was that we try and do a structured system based on times. Like, say, for instance,
All right.
I get 5 minutes, then the next person gets 5 minutes, and so on.
All right.
That's
Fair
exactly what he's proposing. Hold on.
All right. That sounds
Okay,
good.
that's not it. Alrighty. If you want, I'm having problems finding it. Give me a. No, that's not it. Crap. Okay, so it's not in this folder. A lot of you can find a lot of the information if you're willing to do some of the research yourself. I can direct you to one of the guys where I get a lot of my information who posts a lot of this stuff. No More News and The Last American Vagabond are a couple of those that I watch a lot, and they post a lot of their stuff. So
I'd much rather you give the citation directly.
yeah, I'm looking for it right now.
Yeah, while you look, we should probably move on. You can DM me it later.
All right. If I can find the damn thing.
Yeah.
All right. Any other topics?
All right.
Any other topics anyone else has in mind? I don't have any.
Let's
What was
see.
that?
We can advertise Crow's channel a little bit.
Cool.
Sure.
Video.
Mm.
And then can I talk about a few things?
Yeah.
Sure thing. Well, basically, my channel is actually something I'm trying to start up. Basically, teaching people how to survive out in the wilds and to basically to disassociate from the public if you want, or to bring about to actually be able to bring some sources from the wilds to any trading centers that you want to associate with, but otherwise would rather just stay on the outskirts.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
And what were you laughing at now, Malum?
Oh, sorry. I'm looking through my screenshots to see if I can find some of the links. I found something where I was trolling a bunch of pedophiles.
Oh.
Oh
jeez.
God.
And a bunch of leftists too.
Oh, what a shock.
I love my trolls. With the way the left is pushing pedophilia, BSA might as well stand for Boys Sex Association.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kill it with fire. You know, every time there's like a subject with pedophilia or whatever, I always leave a comment where it says, and they say I don't need an AR-15. Oh yeah, and on one of the comments, because I left that comment on High Impact Flicks video on one of his videos about that whole thing, and there was like literally a Democrat who threatened, like, who is like basically like, oh, I believe people should have the right to own guns, but you're gonna get raped in prison if you do that. Fuck off.
Ooh, rape.
Everyone was like
That's
chewing him out for that too, and saying he's an angry black guy because he brought up the race cards, so they were just calling him an angry black guy in the comments.
Mm. Wait, I dissed on somebody. Did I not? Really? On that High Impact Flicks? I don't remember.
Okay.
Impact Flex usually makes pretty good points, although I don't agree with him on everything.
Mm.
Like a normal person.
Yeah. You can never really exactly agree 100% with any one person.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, that's basically you becoming a cult.
Yeah. One of us. One of us.
Google gobble, Google gobble.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that even disputed some of what Mal and Crow were saying about Zionism in the first place ought to show that we do have minds of our own.
Yep.
Mm.
And meanwhile, I'm having a pain in the ass time finding. I really gotta stop taking pictures and all that shit. Damn.
You.
Oh, I save everything. I say after that one incident, I've taken so many screenshots of everything. It's insane. It's my the people. They'll get it to you, and then you can post it on one of your videos. I just got it just might take a while. I got some here.
Yeah, sounds like you need to get yourself an organizer.
Like, well, actually, I've been working on it. The problem is I save more pictures. I save pictures faster than I do organization. Yeah.
Anyway, I think what you should do, Mellum, I think what you should do is, as soon as you save one screenshot of something, or a few, at least a few, then put a folder, and if it's like a few screenshots or whatever of one thing, and just label it that one thing and move it to that folder.
Yeah, anyway,
like I was trying.
Sorry.
Anyway, like I was trying to say, what you said about the incidents reminds me. Malum has been sending me messages regarding all the damage that people have been doing to lives and property of Christians worldwide, and I hate to break it to everyone in a church. I mean, by that I mean Church Universal, not just Catholic or Protestant. We may have to start looking into setting up house churches pretty soon.
House church? Oh, you mean churches at homes? Yeah, I went to a few house churches back in Japan.
I know they do that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how often that occurs. Especially in the third world, where the persecution is massive.
Yeah.
Well, not to mention that I've heard that the LDS community starts with just house churches with smaller areas where they just barely have very few members in an area.
Oh, well,
that's
on
just...
the plus side, Christendom was China. Will you let me finish? On the plus side, Christendom within China is growing.
Yep.
Christianity in China is?
Pretty soon the Chinese are going to be the center of the Christian world.
Holy crap.
Due to how fast we're growing.
Really?
Wow.
I thought that Christianity was illegal over there.
It is.
No, that's Islam. Well, it is and it isn't. Islam is like something that it seems every Southeast and East and Far East nation is fighting right now. Especially after Sri Lanka, I think there's going to be a massive crackdown. Sorry, what?
Malum, we were not talking about Islam right there. We were not talking about Islam. We were talking about Christianity growing in China.
Oh yeah, I know. You mentioned about somebody mentioned about Christianity being illegal, and I mentioned that no, it's mainly Islam right now.
Okay.
No, I don't like Islam, but I don't see what good it does to outlaw it.
Well, the thing
Well,
is, the Chinese regime is trying to suppress as the gospel and whatnot. They might not be doing it overtly, but there are those restrictions that make it hard for the church to operate, and yet it's still growing.
Hmm. Well, to be
Take
honest,
that
I
one,
think
Ming.
China. Oh,
Go ahead.
Dragon Eye.
so what I have heard is that, as a general rule, China actually bans all religions. It's not just Christianity. They ban Islam. They ban. Heck, they're banning their own native religions as well, including Buddhism.
I thought that was early on, and then they started allowing all that stuff back.
I still, unless I've heard otherwise, so far as I know, they
You
still
want to know what the funny
ban
thing
all
with
the
Buddhism
religions.
is over there? Oh, sorry.
Well, I don't know. Well, I do know that you have to be an atheist in order to be in the actual party that rules China. So,
Well, I wanted to share. Wait, you guys got done talking because I wanted to share a really stupid fact with you guys about Buddhism in China.
All right, sure.
Did you guys ever know that it's actually, if you're a Buddhist monk, you have to ask the government permission to reincarnate over there?
What?
I shit you not.
They're kidding.
You give me the
Oh my
article.
God.
I gotta see
Like,
that.
how
Yes,
can they-
because the
Oh,
government
God.
has control over something like that.
like,
That's
assuming
so
it's
Yeah,
real,
how
how are they going to control it?
So
exactly.
stupid.
Assuming it happens.
The reason they're doing that is because they think that's going to keep Dalai Lama out. 'Cause,
Wow.
I mean, what if he comes back as a duck, yo?
Dalai Lama is a shill anyway.
Yeah, but if he comes back as a
Pretty
duck, they can't do anything.
No.
What if he comes back as a cheeseburger?
You mean a cow?
A cheeseburger.
No.
Yeah, he has to be a cow before he becomes a cheeseburger. Just saying.
As cheeseburger.
Oh,
Dead
Malum.
meme there.
Cheeseburger on bread.
Oh, Malum. What is the Dalai Lama comes back as a Val?
Sigval. Okay, for some reason I got a bunch of pictures of memes. Check out sponsored superheroes.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, that's just terrible.
Oh, Mr. Malum, you've got to go from the burning balls together.
I did not get a single thing.
Psych.
Oh jeez.
Okay, check out the Batman versus Goku meme.
What?
Goku, let's
What
fight.
about Shaggy?
Goku, oh hold on. Goku, let's fight. Okay. Give me an hour of prep time. I'll be waiting, bitch. I'm ready. You said fight, not rape.
Oh God.
Oh, dear.
Basically, Batman gets all the Green Lantern rings on one hand and the or all the Lantern rings on one hand and the Infinity Gauntlet on the other.
Wow.
Okay, I
Well,
don't
how
get it.
does the Infinity Gauntlet even work in that universe? Just saying.
No idea.
Well, I've heard theoretically that the Infinity Gauntlet only works in the particular multiverse in just one particular multiverse of the for whatever
Universe of the
Yeah.
multiverse. Every
Yeah.
every universe of the multiverse has its own
Mhm.
set of Infinity Stones. The Infinity Gauntlet can have more than one because the
Sure, but-
Infinity Gauntlet is just a conduit, but it's the
Mhm.
Infinity Stones that are only one of.
Good point.
If I remember right, the Infinity Gauntlet in the original Marvel series was destroyed at one point, and then
Mm.
I'm
And
trying
then
to
it was
remember
made again by
what.
Thanos.
Yeah, it was made again with basically the Marvel version of Aquaman.
Okay, now I'm just being reminded of the channel I Hate Everything.
I hate everything.
I think I remember that channel.
Yeah, that guy's funny.
Oh, that was awesome.
Have you seen his search for the worst series? That's probably the best thing he's ever done.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's going to be an endless search because I'm sure somebody's going to come up with something far worse than what's currently the worst.
What were you got? Sorry, I was looking for something. What?
To search for the worst of anything requires you to wait to be able to live forever. Because if you think you found the stupidest thing ever, just watch. Somebody will make something
Communism.
even stupider.
There, it's done.
Shit.
Anarcho-communism. You
Well,
can't
the
beat
worst
that.
thing so
I
far
think
is
the way that anarcho-primitivism has gone, like, that could theoretically become far worse than anarcho-communism in levels of stupidity. Just saying.
Well, monkeys trade, so technically you can still have a capitalist system under primitivism. You just don't want to have technology.
Oh, fair enough.
And not only that, primates, they use technology too. So booyah, motherfuckers.
Or another way. Well, that
Skyscrapers
just
are
proves
natural.
how. That just proves to me that primitivism doesn't really work even amongst apes.
I wonder when apes are actually gonna become like Planet of the Apes style. And they'll like actually be like human.
Not for a while.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, they're probably gonna
it took us humans how many years to get to where we're at right now?
Yeah.
I'll tell you how Planet of the Apes will happen in the next 100 years.
Oh no. Let me guess. It's gonna be a
Billy, that's a champ.
what?
Get your hands off my bananas, you filthy ape. Or whatever the fuck it was. Sorry.
Oh no.
Billy's a champ.
Champ.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
if a chimpanzee could really do it.
You know, I'm just picturing the ending of Spaceballs where they did the parody of the ending of
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
well, there goes the planet.
yeah. I love that movie.
Oh my god, yeah. I'm turning my iPad.
Okay, why do I have something about Genghis Khan?
Genghis Khan?
Yeah, I'm still looking for the information. Oh wait, did I just pass it? Nope, that's not it. Damn it. I'm still looking for that information. It's gonna take forever. I've got like thousands and thousands of shit on here.
I think you need to have more categories or something.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I've got like 15. No, wait, hold on. I'm gonna minimize this.
Okay, we're gonna need to.
So I got 19 folders of screenshots, and I'm still on number 1.
We should probably pick another topic, or
Yeah, let's. I'll see if I can. I'll just go on the internet and see if I can find the quotes directly, but that's gonna have to be after the fact. Because I can't do anything on my phone, so not while I'm doing this. Remember, I can only do one program at a time. So, damn it. So yeah, we'll skip the whole Zionist thing.
Save it for another time.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I wanted to. Well,
yeah,
maybe we can wait.
Yeah, when you actually have the citations in front of you to have a more productive discussion.
Exactly. The problem is I haven't organized everything yet, and I keep
make time to do so. All right. Anyway, Koi Monster, you wanted to.
Yeah, I was going to say something. Let's see, because I was going to talk about how I was hanging out with my one friend in person the other day, and I think I got through to her on one subject with about like gun control because she was for the quote unquote common sense gun law bullshit, but I think I convinced her otherwise because I told her about knife control in London, which she never even heard of
Mhm.
because they already had
Well,
really
so
strict
not
gun
surprising.
control, and then they decide. Oh, sorry, what?
I'm just shocked that she hasn't heard of it.
Yeah,
It's all over social media.
yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So yeah, I told her about that, and then I also argued, well, I didn't argue with her, but I discussed with her, because she's libertarian leaning, but she's like, oh, I'm a centrist though, but I have more libertarian leanings, but like,
That's
anyways,
sorry.
haha.
Sorry. Hilarious. Uh,
Well, anyways, I was trying to say because she thinks because I told her already with like criminals, it's like criminals already don't respect the law. Do you really think they give a shit about getting a license or getting a background check? And if they do you think they really care? So it's like, and also because she's like for the legalization of prostitution. So I used the example that, first of all, I told her that, that goes against property rights. Even if someone is a criminal, you're taking away their property rights. And
Mm.
I don't know if maybe this wasn't the best example, but I said it's kind of like arguing that a prostitute deserves to be raped because she'll hand herself over to anyone who pays her enough. I don't know. Do you think that? I guess that was a reasonable argument because Crow said it was, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Silence.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide how to put it in words. See, I'm very diplomatic and political with what I talk about. I mean, that's a given. Um, unless I'm being trolly, in which case, have at it. Let's go. And
Anyway.
actually, I had a troll comment. I have a troll comment after this. Yeah. Well, is she fine with talks like that? I mean, most people. I mean, if you spoke to a conservative about a prostitute deserving to be raped, kind of crap.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah, that would.
but she's already more libertarian leading, so I kind of
Yeah.
played along with that because, like I said, she believes prostitution, so long as it involves consenting adults, should be legalized. So I kind of went along with that.
Yep.
Because
Well,
I
if
said,
she's your friend, my guess is that you already knew what to say to her and
yeah,
what would have driven her away. So,
yeah,
yeah, my number one thing is that if you're gonna try and convince people, knowing the kind of person you're talking to, sometimes the best thing to do is to get them to question it. Sometimes the best thing to do is to basically slap their face with the information.
Mm.
So,
Really
it depends on the person. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, Malum, real quick. Crow just linked me a Sefaria.org article to the Talmudic text. I mean, Sefaria.org, I heard from RC Apologists, is very reliable when it comes to Jewish text, so I guess it's a good place to start for the discussion later on.
Hmm.
All right. I can't access it though, so
Yeah, it's in my server.
Hmm.
Yeah, it'll be in my server and Theological Debate.
alrighty. I'll look at it later.
Oh yeah, and also one thing I was trying to get
Alright.
her away from, I'm trying to convince her that her vote does not matter, and
And
make her
I'm
realize
kind of
her vote
helping with
doesn't-
that.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with that one, but and also another thing because she's an Israel fangirl, I gotta get her to realize that it's all the same. Because she hates feminists and SJWs, but I gotta get her to realize it's all the same identity politics garbage as the other things. Because she's like, oh, but I have ancestry of that. It's like that doesn't matter. That's just all political. That's all the same thing as what the SJWs do. It's like, yeah, you fucking white male.
Look for the article where Netanyahu orders there was a Orthodox Jew protest stating that Israel technically belongs to Palestine and we need to stop expanding and stuff like that. And I believe, if I remember right, Netanyahu ordered for the troops to open fire if they did not disperse. So I didn't get into the full details on that, but that might be something to look up. I know there's an article.
on that, so I just can't remember much.
Yeah,
So look
assuming
at-
that's true. That is,
What?
assuming that's true. I mean, I don't know. I don't really keep up. But assuming that's true, that's pretty bad.
Horrific.
But then, yes, I know. But then, saying it belongs to Palestine. The only reason we even have the word Palestine is because it's a Roman invention, and in reference to the Philistines as retaliation for the Jewish revolt in Judea. That's the only reason that word even exists. And the so-called Palestinians, they're not even descended from Philistines. They're Arabs. So even by status standards, the claims either way are illegitimate, whether it be from the state of Israel or these quote-unquote Palestinians. I mean,
They're talking
why are they even
about
arguing?
constant warfare and expansion, such as the invasion into the Gaza Strip. In other words, they were saying, technically speaking, it belonged because one of the things they also did is they cited the Torah, saying that God said that the Jewish diaspora must live symbiotically under the basically their host nations.
Well, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, sure.
Yep.
So,
I thought there
yeah.
was something more, but I don't remember. I'm not going to say it because that one, I have more confidence in what I said earlier, but not what I was going to say next. So I'm just going to shut up.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't really see either side having a legitimate claim either way. I mean,
Well, right now, in terms of the Gaza Strip, keep in mind, it's like the same thing of you going here. Okay, we all live here in the United States, right?
yes.
So technically speaking, if we were to remain consistent on your thing, then technically speaking, this land belongs to the natives. Get the fuck off my land.
You stole this land.
I was
Yeah,
not
I feel
disagreeing
shit.
with
I
you,
wasn't born
Alan.
yet.
No, I'm just
I was
pointing.
not-
No, I'm just pointing that out. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what are we even talking about now?
I don't
We were
know.
talking about cookies and milk.
Well, I was just talking
Chocolate
about
chip.
getting my friend. I was just talking about getting my friend to realize certain things, like including the thing about Israel and the whole voting garbage.
Yep.
Because I don't know what to say
Oh,
about the
yeah.
whole voting thing. Because all I just said with her is that all democracy is an overbloated popularity contest.
Yep.
But she's like, oh,
Yep.
but it's better than living under a dictatorship. At least you can vote them out every 4 years.
Yeah, right. And then repeat the whole cycle all over again.
Yeah.
Vote, complain, repeat.
Yep. So I'm
You wanna
trying.
know
I don't know. Huh? Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry,
No, you go ahead.
I've got a subject changer. No, I've got a subject changer. So you keep going.
All right. Frick. Or because I don't know, like, because maybe I should use the whole, because I've heard that example before. It's like, oh, like with the whole slavery thing, it's like, oh, just because, like, would they be free even if they could vote on a different master? It's like, come on, it's like the same thing.
Yeah, you're still a slave.
What? What?
Yeah,
Talking
you're
to
still a slave.
the cat. Yeah.
Right.
Is it okay if I change the subject for something
All right.
trolly?
Okay, go for it, dude.
Okay.
So I've got this very strong urge when if I ever get a chance to go back to Japan or ever get a chance to visit South Korea, I really, really, really want to try to set up a Jinro festival and have marches down the street in full Jinro cosplay costume.
What
Just-
the fuck is that?
I don't know what you're talking
Jinro, I want you to see it for yourself.
All right, link
Cash-
me, dude.
Crow
Does
knows
it
what
have
it
to-
is.
Does it have to do with the neo-Nazi shit?
Very, very similar.
Oh god.
Yeah, they're basically just a spin-off of the Nazis.
Oh god.
Basically, it's an alternate history where the Nazis won World War II. They
Oh,
betrayed
no.
Italy, took over Italy, and then they took over Japan. And but Japan eventually got their freedom back, but not after they adopted a great deal of technology and culture from the Nazis. And
Oh god.
give me a second, I'm trying to see if I can find a picture
Whoa,
of it.
technology.
Yeah, well, basically, it takes place during the 1960s, but it looks like a bunch of, but they have, okay, it should be in here. Yeah, I have one of my dedicated folders, and then I'm not even done getting the stuff in there. Oh yeah, I have a dedicated folder towards just dedicated for Nazi stuff. To try and figure out ways to troll them because I've got things like Star Wars things here,
Oh, no.
and I just want to. Oh, you can probably imagine the kind of shit I've got,
No gosh.
and just to piss off Antifa. And my whole idea is if I can get a Jinro cosplay march to go down the main street.
Oh dear.
Right in Japan. If I can get both Japan and Korea, and then film this shit live
Oh
on
dear.
YouTube, and then basically speaking in some speaking like I'm part of it. Just the whole idea is if I can get the Jinro thing going over there, I can just say that we've got a Nazi pandemic going on
Oh my god.
here in like we've got actual Nazis marching down the streets, and then come up with like random streets where nobody would actually be at, just to get people to run, get Antifa chasing. The
dear.
troll. I would have running in circles.
Oh, jeez.
All right. Get some mother's balls ready for Vincent go.
You know what that reminds me of randomly? I just randomly remembered that protest I saw that was filmed. One of those, the anti-Trump protests, and they were on like this highway, and then someone just randomly walks into the road and gets run over. It's like, oh my god, are you retarded?
Wait, is that the Heather Heyer thing?
Which one?
Heather Heyer? Something
I
like
don't
that?
know. I can't
The
remember
girl that
her.
got. I know there's only one Antifa girl that ever got run over, and that was as a result of that redneck revolt group where the
Oh,
guy
that wasn't
saying
it.
go
No,
run.
it was like it showed it was like at night, and like I said, it was like in the middle of a highway. There was like a bridge and everything, and this dumb bitch just walks into traffic.
Ooh, that.
No,
know exactly.
I don't think that was Antifa though.
There were a few things where Antifa tried to pick fights. Then one of them ran across the street. Hold on. I think I might have found it.
Okay, yeah, I know what that one is. I remember that one just now, but that wasn't the one you're thinking about. It wasn't Antifa at all.
Don't know about it.
Okay, I'll have to. I have no idea where the video is. I'll have to look.
Alrighty.
That was just ridiculous. This dumb bitch just walks the traffic thinking she's invincible and then gets run over immediately. And then all these people, like all these cars stopping, honking, like, get out of the fucking road!
Oh,
Nice.
jeez.
Yeah.
Where are you? I've got too many pictures, man. I'm having a hard time finding that perfect cosplay picture.
Oh, something perfect I got something perfect in response to the guy shouting, "Get off the road!" Considering it's supposedly Antifa. Hey, I'm running here, you effing Nazis!
Oh, jeez.
Okay, was that a good impression of those soy bars?
Yeah, it was, dude.
Not even close. No, it didn't sound it. You sounded like what's his name? The one that's always hitting on Meg. from the Family Guy.
Getting on, Boo.
The kid, the Jewish stereotype kid from Family Guy that's always after Meg.
The giggity guy.
No, that's Quagmire.
I have no idea who you're talking about since I don't even watch Family Guy.
Yeah, I don't watch that either.
What the
Especially
hell is
since it
wrong?
went to the shitter.
Let me see if I can do a soy boy impression. You're a fucking Nazi! I mean, God, I hate you guys!
Wow, those are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty much on it. Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Like, oh my god,
Character's notes.
I'm running away.
I think Postal Palace does a pretty good one too.
No, that is my dad. Don't you take those Nazis to those senses. You and me with them by the team. Okay, that was horrible.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this is a good place to stop unless anyone else has any other subjects they want to bring up before I end the stream.
I got a picture of the cosplay.
Oh no.
Let me see.
I won't show it because we're gonna get taken down probably then.
Give me a second. Let me bring my stuff.
Let's see it. Like I don't think most of you guys use Instagram, do you?
I do. You know I
I
do.
know you do, dude. You follow me.
Come on. What the heck is going on? Hello?
Yeah, hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Come on. What the hell?
Don't worry, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Sounds like one of
Connectivity
these
issue, go
days I'll
figure.
have to. Yeah,
Okay,
sounds
try
like
this
maybe
again.
with these times I should just do a hotspot.
Okay. Try that.
Anyways, I was saying before, so I think Crow's the only other person here that uses Instagram, right?
Seems like it.
Yeah, because I think they're having censorship issues too, because they're doing this thing where they limit the number of posts you have, and like only your viewer or the people who follow you can only see 7% of your content, or only 7% of your viewers can see your content. It's like a huge problem that they're starting to have on Instagram, and tons of people are losing followers or having followers deleted.
Oh, that's really bad.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and Crow, you're one of my only active followers
Look,
Oh yeah.
because you're the only one who
I'll
comments
have
and
to
likes and everything. So everyone else, nearly everybody else, there's like only 3 people that are considered active followers. Everyone else is considered a ghost follower. Jeez,
Wow.
Weird.
Anyway, so
I have no
as
idea
you can
why
see
they're
on the
doing that.
screen, that's exactly what the general looked like.
I can't see
Let
it.
me see here. Let me.
The picture looks
Yeah, it's
terrible. I can't
bring-
see it.
Yeah.
It's my picture, though.
Oh.
Yep. Those are cosplayers from Japan.
Hmm.
That's what Jinro looks like. And I basically want to have a parade of Jinro cosplayers marching down the street, and then, me up in the foreground dressed like one of them, talking about, yep, we got a proud movement forming. We're going to take over this nation.
Oh god.
oh,
Well,
I'll go
that's
think it's
actually pretty
real.
easy to do. It's just act it out first and then voiceover.
Oh dear.
Anyway, all I have left to say is, don't be insane.
I guess we'll do
There we go.
thank yous then. And then
Yep.
close the stream. All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you to Crow, Mag, Malum, Koi, and Zachary for joining in the call. And thank you to YouTubing Jaguar, Stasiuk the Fox, and Tech Helicopter Cat, and Boss Jasonator for tuning in the chat. Everyone have a great evening. Good night.
Yeah, the force be
And Madeline?
All right, stopping.